Hello everyone, welcome back to Blitz. Today I'll be doing another 3-mask run. So we are on the first map and we're gonna tackle the Ruinous Reef where we fight against Leviafin. Um, so, um, just as yesterday, our masks are that our enemies are tankier. They start with 10 armor, that minions with 5 or more power gain fleeting, so they die after one attack, and our deck is trashed with 5 doomed recruits. Since we are fighting with the same masks, most of the things I talked about yesterday will stay the same. However, there are some major differences between the first and the second boss. First of all, the Leviafin relic, Sea God Stone, says that both players start with 5 mana. So the reason Leviafin has this is because it has a lot of very big cards. So Leviafin kind of gets access to those cards immediately. The other relic he has is the Leviafin Fang. After the first enemy minion is frozen each turn, deal 1 frost damage to it, which freeze is an effect that doubles damage against minions, which means that this is actually 2 frost damage to the first freeze target. So this kind of summarizes the other aspect of Leviafin, which is that Leviafin has a lot of removal spells. So when evaluating which mercenary you should pick to defeat him, the increased mana base and the 2 removal, extra removal is what you have to keep in mind. That makes any kind of minion that needs any sort of mercenary that needs minions on the board pretty difficult to use. Like any sort of minion that has engines going. So, for example, cannons are quite terrible against Leviafin. Also, let's see. I had another one in mind beforehand. Yeah. Broodmaster Break is also pretty bad. He's already pretty bad because of the power limitation. But with the Leviafin, with the oodles of removal he has, this is even worse. And anything that scales, basically not going to be able to do anything. Katanas are pretty bad as well, because they, like Bladekeeper and Ronin. Bladekeeper wants to stay on the board to sharpen your katana a bunch. Ronin wants to stay on the board to attack the hero a bunch. Admiral Brass is surprisingly good. He is probably the best minion-based mercenary out there, just because he has Rush, and I have actually defeated Leviafin, like high difficulty Leviafin with Admiral Brass most of the time. Although, as you saw, I have not done it with the Ironclad mask just yet. And instead replaced it with the rookie mask, where my deck starts at level 1, just so the aggro can work out a little bit better. Aggro can work surprisingly well against Leviafin because of that high mana start. If you have the draw to support it, you can dish out a lot of minions very quickly, and yes, he will remove them on the next turn, but if you have like 2 bomb turns, like maybe one turn where you play a bunch of minions, then get your ultimate, and then like a second turn just to finish them off, that can work quite well. That was my initial plan for today, to use Admiral Brass for that map. However, I had a Mostly Admiral Brass focused on yesterday with the Cutlass Vine. So I think we're gonna pick something else. Bang is a pretty good pick. Bombs are a way to deal damage outside of minions. You also have Incinerate to destroy big minions that the enemy is going to place down. And if you do go long, the extra armor from Bang is going to help as well. One of the best things about Bang is that he has a 7 mana, draw 3 cards, gain 10 armor card. In most fights, that's not really gonna matter that much because the fight is gonna be over by then. However, against the Leviafin, you'll be able to play that card on the second or third turn, and it'll just help you sustain a bunch and refill your hand, which will quickly be emptied out because you can spend all mana at once. Res, of course, Res is always very good, but yeah, she is a spell-focused deck that sort of circumvents this whole restriction to your minions. Lieutenant Juniper is a good choice. She alone will probably not be able to win the battle, because poison doesn't really work against high mana decks. You just have the mana to play the poison immediately. However, she offers you a relic, the Slitherthorn Quiver, that adds 3 removal spells to your hand. You can also add one of those noxious arrows to your deck and enhance it with extra draw. So you have the draw and the removal to keep going. And then you kind of either pick up a secondary minion to win the fight, or maybe you get lucky and can buff the Growth Keeper with the +3/+3 trinket you get at the dragon fight. Give him dual strike somehow, and rush, or rush. Yeah, or you just rely on your secondary minion. So, all of that in mind, I'm kind of leaning towards Bang. I did a Bang run yesterday, however, it ended up leading more into Admiral Brass and the Cutlass Vine towards the end. I am also thinking of using Nilmi. So Nilmi has some minions that sort of rely on having minions on the board, like Nilmi herself. The signature card attacks whenever friendly minions die once she powers up, and since she has very low health, she's probably gonna die immediately. However, the extra mana base actually helps a lot to combo Nilmi before the enemy can remove it. Like if you play this and then play 5 other Kendos that immediately die, then you can deal a bunch of damage before the enemy has the chance to react. And you also have Belarus, which can gain Rush and Dual Strike, and Rush is pretty good to get some damage in. You can buff Belarus with up to +2 attack, and have like a 4 power Dual Strike Rush to get 8 damage in. Nilmi has a lot of potential for removal, so she should be able to deal with big minions pretty well. She can also end the fight by just Apex striking the enemy. And yeah, a lot of things in her deck can like work towards one big turn instead of having like a slow engine like build up, which works around the drawbacks of the Leviafin fight pretty well, and also utilizes the 5 mana start pretty well. So I think if you can do both, that should be a pretty good recipe for victory. And yeah, I think that is going to be my starting deck. I definitely want to have Jab. Without Jab, Nilmi can have trouble winning the first fight, where you have to deal 15 damage to the enemy hero somehow. But yeah, Gut Blow, Apex Strike is a pretty good solution to that. I also want to have Belarus, just because Belarus can be a pretty good way to kill the boss. So the question is, do I want to have Kendos? If I don't have Kendos, I can pick up Brunbark. So Brunbark draws you a focus card that gets you to your Nilmi and to your Belarus fairly quickly. However, it's bad to have Kendo and Brunbark in the deck, or maybe not bad, but it sort of nerfs Brunbark a lot that you can't draw towards your big focus minions, and instead are very likely to just get Kendos, who now have focus 1 game relentless. So I think it's good if you pick either one or the other. The advantage of picking up Kendo straight up is that you can buff Kendo with trinkets, and Nilmi has a lot of cards that generate Kendos, so those cards are gonna be a lot stronger if the Kendos are stronger. Since I do want to have Jab in the deck, it'd be kind of awkward to have Brunbark and Belarus in the deck, because I'm not gonna have a turn 1, and Jab is a pretty weak turn 2. So as for cheap minions, there's Firestorm Fury. That's one of those spells that can generate Kendos. Like pretty good. It's 2 damage to all enemy minions, summon Kendos, which deal 1 more damage potentially. 2 more if you can give them the +1 power trinket. But I don't think it's particularly good as a starter card. And Ansatsuki is a pretty good card throughout most of the run. Draws you minions when like 1 minion a turn if you manage to kill one of your own minions. Not particularly good against the boss, because it's gonna be 1 draw at boss, but should help against the normal fights and the elite fight. Contender is pretty bad. After a friendly minion dies, gain +1/+1. It's already very slow, but on the set of maps, it's limited by the 5 power maximum, and also Leviafin is just gonna kill the contender before it can do anything. So I think I'm happy to just go with Kendo, Jab, Belarus. Yeah, Ruinous Reef. I guess the main thing about picking up Kendo over Brunbark is that I'm gonna have a lot of useless 1-drops. Like those Tombed Recruits are gonna be kind of annoying. I think I'll still go with Nilmi. So thinking about relic bands and trinket bands. Yeah. Crimson Flute could be a consideration. The enemy is gonna play a lot of spells, and 1 mana more doesn't matter. Like, on one hand, the enemy starts with a lot of mana, so playing 1 more might not matter that much, but also if the enemy plays a lot of spells, it will be impactful. However, I don't think it's worth taking this as an Elder Relic slot. Unbanning Brilliant Elixir could be an interesting choice. Most of what my minions are gonna do, they're gonna try doing on the first turn they're summoned, and with Brilliant Elixir I might be able to debuff some enemy minions. I always ban Death Dice, I always ban Doggy Biscuit, and with Nilmi especially I don't want to nerf my own pyro damage. Always ban Magma Trident. Magma Trident can be pretty good if you have some sustain in the deck. It deals 2 damage to a random minion each turn, but you also, because the attack doesn't come from the relic but from your hero, basically you also take damage in return, so you need some sustain to work with this. And I'm trying to go for S rank, so I don't want to take a lot of self damage, but if you're just trying to win the run, Magma Trident can be pretty good. Pirate minions cost 1 more. Enemies not gonna have a lot of pirate minions. Sandwich, I will unban the sandwich to potentially make Duke Recruit stronger. Hot sticks, when the first friendly minion dies, do 1 pirate damage to a random minion. Kind of underwhelming since it can only trigger once per turn. Just after a friendly death effect trigger, do draconic damage to the hero. Well, it's not a neutral relic, so I don't have to ban that. Cheaper spells could be interesting. Oh, I should ban the Chompers. Devour random friendly minions in a front row to give stats to other minions. I don't want a minion at full power to accidentally scale beyond that. So, Mimic Ring, add a card from the opponent's deck to your hand. Could be interesting. Usually don't like that relic all too much because you're gonna have useless cards and Mimic Melody might clutter your hand. However, against this boss you often end up in a situation where you just top tag each other to death. Like you play all your cards on turn 1 and 2, the enemy plays all their cards on 1 and turn 2, and it sort of just cancels out, and then it's just top deck roulette. Like you draw 1 card, play it, hope it's a good card, and anything that can give you extra card advantage against that is pretty good. Like Mimic Ring giving me 2 cards per turn, and the enemy boss has some pretty big minions as well. So this could actually be a run winner in the end. Chaotic Cauldron, I don't want that. Just total RNG. Limitless, when I play expensive minions, I put cheaper copies of them into the deck. I'm not gonna play that many expensive minions. All spells cost 1 less, but I take damage. Trying to go for S rank. If you're not doing that, then this can be a pretty fine relic. Title bans draw all your cards and then don't draw anything afterwards. Is pretty risky against that particular boss. add random cards that make them cheaper at the beginning of the battle. Not very fond of that. So I think I'm not gonna unban anything else. In terms of what I want to ban, probably the white belt. After friendly brawler minion dies, give another brawler minion +1 power. It's one of the Nilmi relics, and it's because there is pretty much a limit on how much power a minion can have. I'm not very interested in the white belt. It's a little bit better against the boss when my minions get removed anyway after they're played, but something like Nilmi probably gonna get more value if it just attacks the enemy a bunch for 2 or 4 damage instead of dying after the 3rd blow. For trinkets, so unbanning thorns might be okay if I try to jump block something, although jump blocking is pretty unreliable against that boss. I think I'm gonna take off the nimble ribbon and put it on something else. Double minions power. And for Nilmi that would be a +2/+2. Makes her a little bit more expensive. But I think that's usable. Question is, do I want to ban lifesteal? Usually not a fan of lifesteals because it increases cost by 2. But a cost increase is something I can work with against this boss. So probably banning Thorns +3 then, because there are a lot of other uncommon trinkets I'm interested in seeing, and Thorns isn't very reliable against this boss. Yeah. I think I'm done with preparations then. Let's jump right in. So, trinket notes. There is a supply closet. This is one of the main nodes to look out for on this map. Supply closet, Seafin Shrine, and Ember Drake. There is an Ember Drake on this map as well. There is no Seafin Shrine. So let's go over the event notes real quick. The new ones in particular. Supply closet gives you access to a trinket shop with 3 trinkets. A ramp trinket for legendary minions. That's pretty good for a Nilmi deck because Nilmi is a relatively cheap card. 3 and putting ramp on it. Pretty useful, especially for a combo heavy deck like Nilmi. A card that reduces, I think, epic minions, was it, by 2, but gives the enemy 2 funky fragrances when that minion dies. So that's a stat booster with a +1/+1. So if you have some kind of big game-ending minion, you can bring it out 2 turns earlier, and then you don't care about giving the enemy buffs. There are also a couple of enemies that like to use that trinket in conjunction with the Severed Hand, which is a relic that spawns skull recruits whenever you play spells. However, unfortunately, there is no way to get Severed Hand and that particular trinket right now. You can get one or the other on separate maps. And also very useful, an uncommon trinket that heals you by 5. So if you have an uncommon card that you play a lot, that's a pretty good choice as well. However, if I go to the supply closet, I cannot go to this elite fight. Leaky Tap gives you access to either Grog, or if you have an intelligent minions, intelligent mercenary, I mean, you can get a set of trinkets, that's +1 power, +3 power, -1 health, and -1 mana cost. +1 power is very good for Kendos, so if I pick up an intelligent Tavern Companion, that might be something I want to path for. Bilge Bomb is just a removal in most cases. If you're playing a bomb deck, there are some interesting relics you can find here if you're playing aggressive. Or if you're playing like a self-damage deck. There's the Fairy Contract, which spawns an Armor Fairy at the beginning of battle. Group's Price Emporium is mostly just a shop to buy trap cards. Most of the time I ignore it. I think there is like a relic shop as well, but I don't remember what it was exactly. Cursed Quarters is some max HP, and there's also some relics over here, but that's also an event node I usually ignore because it's usually not that interesting. Ember Drake is a very valuable node. If you defeat this enemy within 10 turns and kill chests, which is like a minion with 0 power, 8 HP, and you gain access to very powerful trinkets, a +3 power, +3 health. Right now, I would need to nerf Nilmi somehow if I want to put it on Nilmi. It only goes in legendary cards, and I don't want to bring Nilmi to 5 power. There is a -3 cost for expensive cards. Right now I don't have any expensive cards. And there's a +3 power, +3 damage for like spell and other passive damage effects. That could be pretty good for Jab. Like deal 4 damage and generate extra card advantage on 1 card. It's pretty decent. So right now it's not especially clear what's the best path. I do want to kill 1 elite for S rank. So the question is, am I gonna get something that benefits from Ember Drake? Am I gonna get something that benefits from Supply Closet? Supply Closet is an okay target right now. Just for the ramp trinket. Do I want to go to the leaky tab? It's gonna depend a lot on what Tavern Companion I'll pick up. And my choice for the first battle is Skull Recruit and Ember Whelp. So between those two, Skull Recruit fight 1 is not particularly threatening. It's mostly just doomed recruits and one and like a pair of Skull Recruits that are just gonna buff a 1/1. I definitely prefer that over the 2/2s and the Fireball that can go to face as well. So that's a pretty nice hand. Kendos and Belarises. Okay. Immediately gets 1 of the Skull Recruits, so I'm gonna kill the Doomed Recruit first, just so that the Skull Recruit can potentially be isolated. another scout recruit, so once I get these two out of the way, I should be fine. So now all my Belarus have dual strike. I think I'm fine with blocking this lane right now. Should run out of cards fairly soon. And then I'm gonna block this Skull Recruit with an unbuffed Belarus so that I can make progress on my buffed ones. So right now I'm doing 2. My question is, can I get the 5 overkill for the S rank in the first fight so that I don't have to worry about it later. If I use Get Blow to kill the Doomed Recruit, I am doing 6, which brings the enemy down to 4. And then I will deal 6 again, which would not get the overkill, so I think I'm just gonna punch the enemy face. And yeah, if I had to, I could have removed my own Belarus. But there is no need to. I'll just skip my turn and then Apex Strike. So, first card selection. There's a set of neutral minions I don't particularly like. Barrel Brute has a plunder effect when it kills a minion, deals 2 damage to the next enemy minion. Kind of bad if you don't have Hothead, because you can't guarantee that the plunder effect goes off, and 2 damage on a common minion isn't very powerful because you can't buff it up by a lot. Yeah, I mostly just ignore this. Sprout of Guardian, usually very good card, very tanky, but on this map limited by having 6 power and therefore immediately dying after the first attack. Also, even a tanky minion like that will fall pretty quickly to the boss removal. And Fritzbot, a 2-4, but practically a 2-2 because it deals 2 damage to itself at plate. Honestly, don't know why this is not in the self-damage deck, because in any other deck this is more or less useless. Then there is some interesting removal options, just some Pyre Bolts and a Firestorm Fury. That is worth considering. Then there is Meditation to redeem a focus minion. I really like that one. There are some very powerful focus minions out there. It used to be a starter card for Nilmi, but it's no longer the case. Back then it was extremely busted because the pool of focus minions was so small that you could guarantee getting Yasa pretty much every time, which is a 7/7 dual strike Hothead that costs 0 once enough minions die. Now it's a little bit weaker because you're not guaranteed to see it every time. However, there are still some very good focus minions you can get. For example, there's one that costs 6 and generates all the cards you spent to get to the focus. So the way focus works is it ticks up whenever a friendly minion dies. So that's one way to get a very nice refill. There's also uppercut. Deal damage to something and add copies of that card into the hand. Card advantage is good against the boss. Aura Guard is probably not gonna save any minions in that fight, but it's gonna make the enemy expend more resources. Fireballs aren't that interesting to me because I already generate gut blows and that get me apex strikes. And jab is also already a target for an epic spell upgrade. Although Firestorm Fury right now is the only board clear option. The other thing about Aura Guard is that it gives me, like, if I break with my combo turn with Nilmi, for example, it gives me a backup. I'm upset about not taking any board clears, but Aura Guard and Meditation are pretty good. The question is, do I want to take Uppercut as well? I think not. Right. Also, there are some pretty fun minions I can steal. Unfortunately, I have not looked whether there's a trinket shop on the way, but the boss does have some pretty cool minions to steal. Like, since the path is not very clear right now, I can't really tell whether I'm gonna path for more trinkets or more relics. But yeah, what I want to look out for is intelligent for the leaky tab. Aggressive for Bilge Bomb usually, but not on this map because the only relic that interests me is one that immediately spawns a minion. Minion-based strategies are iffy against that boss. So something with good Ember Drake buff possibilities, or something that good supply closet buffs. So, not particularly happy with what I'm seeing here. So, I got archers. Their thing is that they have a lot of ways to give like temporary buffs to their minions, like the Vanguard buffs minions behind it, core doubles power of other archer minions. Already not particularly good on this map, but even worse against Leviafin because you rely on combining minions and staying on the board for extended periods of time, which is just not a thing against Leviafin. Golems are not particularly good as well, just on this map in general, because their thing is mainly like buffing and merging into bigger minions. And yeah, even worse against Leviafin because they are very, very minion based. And I've already mentioned cannons at the beginning of the video as something that just doesn't work, because the cannons have to stay on the board, so you can summon pirate minions and trigger them, but the cannons will just die. There are some cursed quarters, so I might be interested in going there, although I don't know if I have the right traits to get it. I'll have to path there eventually and look up what gives me access to the relic. So this is either a skip or a reroll the way I'm seeing this, because all three of those are very minion based. I did see that pathing into the supply closet is doable with just one shop node, a relic shop node, and a campfire. So I could go there and buff my Nilmi. I usually don't like to spend rerolls on Tavern Companions, but in this case, there's no particular Elder Relic I'm looking for as far as trinkets go. I mean, oh yeah, Intelligent was of interest because of mana reduction and +1 power for Kendos. So usually I'd be happy with taking the 120 gold from picking musket and just keeping the cannons in the deck. But the thing that speaks against that is the fact that I banned every Thorns trinket, and that's what can make ship cannons pretty good even without synergies. Just a heavy blocker with big thorns. Question is, can I succeed if I just stick to Nilmi and don't get the extra gold as well? It's a question. Skipping is a questionable choice when my deck is trashed with doomed recruits. And I do kind of want to pick up the extra money, so I will spend one reroll. Okay, not the best selection of minions either. We got the Katana deck, which Katanas are not that good if you want to go for S ranks, and also a lot of Katana synergies rely on having certain minions on the board. Sono Sid, very fun deck. Problem is that his thing is scaling to very absurd power levels, which is just not something that the mask selection allows. And then there's Spurfoot Willy. That's an interesting one. I do like green spells quite a bit. There's some ramp, there's some removal in there. Buckaroot is a minion that will basically immediately die when I play it. If I play it for more than 5 mana or 5 mana. However, if I give this Hothead and utilize Trample, I can play this as a way to push a lot of damage into the enemy at once. And then I don't really care about it dying. And also, Troublesores have a lot of overgrow. Overgrow basically spawns extra copies of minions, which does scale up my focus faster. And Stomp is a nice removal option. Like, this is a 5 power minion, but it already has fleeting, so I think I'm actually gonna go with Troublesore. Not what I had expected from this map, but yeah, I think this can work pretty well. So, Ramp Trinket has become a lot more interesting now that it's on Troublesores. Question is, do I want to put it on Spurford Willy or Nilmi? Spurford Willy gives me some random Troublesores that I might not really care about, but it also just immediately spawns a big stompy minion. Maybe I get a relic that helps me to roll Troublesores. So yeah, I think I definitely wanna go here, in which case if I wanna fight the elite I would have to fight Crewman Crawl. Let's see, elite over here, Bloodbite. Kind of prefer fighting Bloodbite over Crewman Crawl. Because he has... That's the relic trinket combo I was talking about, Severed Hand, and then gives me funky fragrances, like not even with the trinket, but with a minion. So that can be pretty annoying. Guess I'll pick up my relic first, and let's see. Ooh, incredible set of choices. Wrangling Lasso. Turn start, add a lasso to your hand if you don't have one. Draws Troublesore minions from my deck and reduces their cost. It costs 3, so you're still spending 1 extra mana, basically. But it is just free draw every turn. Incredibly useful against that boss. And also combines well if I start cloning Spurford Willies for more ramp and just generating a bunch of Troublesores. Necro Hammer, when friendly minions die, gain +1 armor. One of the best relics for Nilmi, because you're gonna have a bunch of Kendos that ideally are gonna die twice. And now I also picked up the Troublesore deck, which has a lot of overgrow, which also means a lot of minions die twice. So incredible sustain. And Sly Gloves, first cut I play from another faction, costs 2 less. Which with Shrubbersaurs in particular, is incredibly busted. It's already one of the best relics in the game. Like, playing your cards 2 turns earlier than you can. And it's even more powerful on Shrubbersaurs, which care about playing big minions. For example, if I put the Ramp Trinket on Spurfoot Willy, that'll be a 1-mana ramp. I would need to get some draw somehow. With the way the boss works. So yeah, this is a tough choice. All 3 of those relics are incredible. So, since I want to fight an elite, and I prefer the Act 1 elite over the Act 2 one, means I'm not getting the Ramp Trinket, so Sly Gloves kind of goes down in evaluation with that in mind, and it also goes down because it matters less against the boss that already gives me a bunch of mana. So it's Necrohammer or Wrangling. So Wrangling Lasso is a way to dump my mana into something and win the top deck more. But it would be weaker against the other battles. I think Necrohammer is the most solid choice. Can never go Necrohammer, especially with that set of synergies. I've played a lot of Necrohammer runs, so kind of for the novelty, I'm interested in the Wrangling Lasso. Does mean I'm leaning away from Nilmi. It's a question of whether I can buff my Buckaroots enough. I think there was no way to get a early trinket shop. Unfortunately. Otherwise, I would remove the bud shrubs and make sure that Buckaroot is my only Shrubbersaur in the deck. And see if I can give this double stats somehow. But I think a lack of trinket shops means I'm gonna go with Necrohammer. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go to Bloodbite. So I'm either fighting Crewman Krail or Shadowshade. Shadowshade has a lot of removal spells. Crewman Krail has like a lot of buffing with skill recruits and revival with wanted crewmates, and Curse Spirit as like a very strong minion that gives me buffs. I think I prefer fighting Shadowshade. and I'll try winning with jab or something. Yeah, there's my jab, there's a kendo. I guess I'll throw out Buckaroot and immediately get Buckaroot back. Awesome. And I'll redeem a focus minion. Let's get Rishu for some card advantage potentially. Let's just block. Try to buff up the kendo. Nice, Nilmi comes just in time for kendo to die twice. Spawns a Shiver Shade, which I'm also immediately going to remove. And I guess I'm just gonna keep blocking lanes. Start putting damage into the enemy's face. 6 cards in hands. I still have 1 left because this is focus 4, so it gives me 4 minions. And it does have a lot of power, like to gain fleeting. However, getting 1 6 damage hit in is still valuable, and a lot of value comes from just the immense card advantage on that card. Like if I can get a natural Rishu, I would definitely pick that up. And yeah, I think I'll just win. And fleeting also kind of helps me buff up the candles that help me get 2 Rishu. So I have Runback, Lowlife Fisher, and Serene Herb. Runback's alright. Draws me into Kendos or Nilmis or Belarises. Lowlife Fisher, only good if you can put like a +3 damage trinket on it. But I have jabs waiting for a +3 damage trinket. Serene Herb, increase mana by 1 and draw 1. Very good, especially if you can put a +draw trinket on it. There's actually 2 removal packages. Firebolt, Feral Claw, and Firestorm Fury. Feral Claw deals 6 damage basically, but in 3 separate instances, which means that it is an incredible target for plus damage trinkets. If I get +2 damage, that would be basically double the amount of damage, like 12 damage on 1 card. Pretty awesome. And Firestorm Fury, just more death triggers and a board clear. It's in both packages. I think either way I'm gonna pick that up. It's really a choice between Feral Claw and Scorching Whirlwind. So either some more board clear or some single target removal. Either way, I'm gonna remove the fireball. Single target removal is kind of important against that enemy, but I already have that with Jab and Gut Blow and Apex Strike. So I think having 2 board clears is pretty good. Although I kind of don't like the Scourge against the elite I'm fighting, because the elite does have some has a lot of tough minions and I think some self-damage triggers as well. So I think because of that I'll pick up Feral Claw. And then Feral Claw might help me play like an expensive focus minion or a Buckaroo as well. I do have a good number of trinkets, trinket shops in the second half. Yeah, I'm about to fight Bloodshark, so sure. Not a node that's gonna help me for this run. What are those? Bloodtooth? Bloodbite, huh. Interesting. Never knew there are 2 flavors of those. There's Campfire coming up. I can remove or clone. I think even though they have Overgrow. But they're worth 2 armor. And make my Buckaroos cheaper. Maybe I clone Meditation. Maybe I clone Nilmi. Cloning Jab is also tempting. It is sort of my main source of damage right now. With the amount of trinket shops that are coming up, there's a good chance that I can get a -1/-1/-1 relic on trinket on Nilmi, which would allow me to get +3/+3 in the dragon fight. But then I do rely on having a lot of candles to trigger Nilmi a bunch in one turn, and I don't have any candle generators yet. And if I pick up Jab, I can give +3 damage to Jab, and potentially I can give Jab 2 +3 damage trinkets, one from the Ember Drake fight and another one in a trinket shop, because these are 2 separate trinkets. So yeah, I think I'll just grab another Jab. Then I have to think about removal at Blutschwamp. Oh, that's a pretty nice start. Bot Shrub to gain 2 Necrohammer triggers and buff up my candles. And some removal as well. So this bud shrub will not deal any damage to the Buccaneer. But it will trigger my candles. And I'll wait until the Buckroot is strong enough to one-shot a Buccaneer. Funny, I can use some of his minions barrier and copy it. I think I'll actually place the Buccaneer in front of the Berserker. Oh, I missed it. I thought the Buccaneers had health buffs for some reason. It's actually that damage that's buffed. So yeah, now then I will block the Buccaneer. I should have blocked one of the left ones, because now the Berserker is gonna get buffed before he attacks. Very tough to keep my health at. To keep the S rank here. And I actually might straight up die in this fight, to be honest. Because these Berserkers are gonna be tough to deal with. Fortunately, dealing 0 damage to a minion does not trigger the Berserker. But yeah. I'm gonna take 8 damage this turn and... if this keeps on going, I will straight up die. Kind of just... block 6 damage over here and... yeah. Alright. And yeah, I just die. I guess I could have blocked on the left lane and played a Kendo instead to get some armor. But I was also kind of running out of steam, so I don't think that fight was winnable with my deck. Recording is 1 hour long, but I didn't get very far into the run, so I think I'll just retry it. I think if I picked up the Sly Gloves instead, that could have gone better. But yeah, I just didn't have enough removal to get rid of the Buccaneers and the Berserkers later on. The lack of the Trinket Shop really killed me there. I guess going through the bounty node was kind of a mistake as well. So let's see. This time there is a Seafin shrine. On the other side there's a supply closet. In terms of elite fights, there is Bomber Guy. I definitely don't want to fight Bomber Guy because he has the relic that shuffles bomb into my decks if I have armor. If the enemy has armor, I mean. Which he will get plus 10 armor from the mask, so that's just one bomb per turn. So for S rank, I will try to fight Sea Ape Soul instead, which can also be a tough fight. Cannons can kind of make it difficult to establish a board presence, but I'm already trying to build a deck that's more focused on spell damage or big combo turns, so that means I do want to path over here, which does mean that Leaky Tap is on the table. Fight one, either Berry Brood or Skull Recruit. Kind of very similar. He has two tutus, he has two minions, 1/1 minions that buff something by 1. I guess I'll fight the Skull Recruit in case I can isolate his Skull Recruit minions. And yeah, that's alright hand. I think I will dig for more candles and jab. And just play a Doom Recruit. He gets both of them on his first turn. Yeah, that's alright. I can kill that next turn. Guess I could have killed the Doom Recruit first, although then the other Doom Recruit would have been buffed, so didn't really matter. Now he's running out of cards. Doing 4 damage right now, which brings him down to 9. So if I play Gut Blow, he's gonna be at 3. Which does mean if I have Polaris next turn, I will be able to get the overkill. Since Polaris has flush. So, much better choice of cast than last time. There is Tsuki, Browntooth, and Rishu. Tsuki can draw when minions die, Browntooth generates pirate minions, and Rishu regenerates the cards that died to power up Rishu. For the neutral package, Seafaring Apes, not that interesting, because I'm not gonna have too many minions on the board at once. Barrel Brood, I've already mentioned, it's not that good. Smithy's quite decent. Especially if I go for Jab and all of the subsequent spells that come afterwards. But there's also Bullet Fist and Plumbark. So I definitely liking Bullet Fist. It generates a Casa Split, which generates more candles. So that's one way to get a lot of fodder for Belarus and Nilmi. So I definitely want to pick up both Bullet Fists. Question is, do I want to pick up Runbark? 3 is a bit of a crowded space, like in terms of mana curve. But I think having a guard minion could be a good way to keep enough sustain, basically, like pseudo sustain. So, pathing towards Sea Dragon Sanctum. So this has a +2 power trinket, which will go on Belarus. A spells give you armor equal to their cost, which I would really like to have on Bullet Fist. 3 armor, that's pretty decent. And attacks minions before freezing, which is an epic. It would be kind of cool on Nilmi, especially if I get trample on Nilmi. But that would be pretty expensive. So 2 uncommon trinkets is what I should expect to pay for over here, which means I'm gonna have 120 gold once I get there. So right now, if I also buy a relic, that's not gonna... I'm not gonna have enough money because the fight's gonna give me 100 gold. So I do need to pick up a Tavern Companion. If I get +50, that's enough to buy both uncommon trinkets and 1 relic. If I get 100, it's also enough, but it's not enough to buy a relic at both nodes. If I get 120, I would be able to buy both trinkets and a relic at this shop from the money I have, and a relic at this shop from the money I'll get from one of these 2 fights. So I'm actually interested in picking up a difficulty 3 combination, which the game does not show to me. However, it does show me some pretty decent choices. So, got Bang again, with just some extra bombs, and Incinerate as a very good removal spell. And there are some pretty nice cards in Bang's pool as well. What I'm especially interested in is plus 10 armor, draw 3 for 7 mana. Interesting to see Dragon Brand being a 2-skull combo with Nilmi. I think that Dragon Brand works actually pretty well with Nilmi. His thing is playing of Death Rattles and focus triggers whenever minions die, so you kind of want minions to die for immediate death rattle effects, and then for buffed focus minions. Yeah, in either case, I would remove the one drop probably, because I don't want to add bombs to my own deck. And Gold Recruits are not that strong. But the face damage from Void Agent can be pretty good. And then there's Lystra Starscale, who's mainly good because of the hero, which has lifesteal and barrier. None of these have intelligence, so none of these would give me better leaky tab options. And between Bang and Dragon Brand, I think I will prefer Bang. Just because of the Incinerate spell. And Jolly Bombers should help me with some early fights. I can remove Burst at my first campfire. I don't have anything I want to clone in particular. And yeah, Void Ancients are a pretty good card if you can buff the damage. But right now I'm not seeing a lot of trinket shops. So Bang just has a very strong card pool for this particular boss. Gives me more immediate value with Jolly Bomber. And Incinerate is better than Void Ancient. Yeah, two good cards, one good removal target. 100 gold either way. Bang himself is probably not gonna matter that much. Maybe I can give him like a double stats trinket, make him 16/16, which if I have removal in hand is a good way to end the fight. Or he himself kind of acts as removal as well if I can put a couple of bombs into the enemy deck. So if I don't like the relic choice over here, I can look at the second relic shop. Because I'm not gonna be able to buy both from both relic shops and buy all the trinkets that I want to buy at the Seafin Shrine. So, I have press to conflict. If I have armor, shuffle bombs into the enemy deck. Right now I don't have any armor generation. I will have some once I buff my bullet fists. After a card is shuffled into any deck, deal 1 pyro damage to a random enemy. That one can be incredibly good if you get like bilge bombs. That was the relic I was looking for yesterday, which adds relics, which adds bombs whenever you play pirate minions. So, for example, this one would add 4 bombs, 1 for being played because it's a pirate, 1 for being played from its own effect, 1 because it dies because it is a pirate, and bilge bombs also trigger bombs whenever minions die, and another 1 from its own effect, so like up to 4 pyro damage. It's also pretty nice if you combine Bang with like an Evolve deck or a Brigade deck. Very good control option in a lot of decks. And Necro Hammer returns. Necro Hammer did not save me last time. However, those bullet fists are gonna generate a lot of candles, which is gonna translate into a lot of so I'm not seeing Nilmi relics, by the way, because I don't think Nilmi has anything other than the belt. So, question is there any neutral relic other than Necrohammer that I'm interested in? I don't know if I banned Lucky Coin. Lucky Coin is actually pretty good on that map. It lets you either choose a removal spell or a draw spell that costs 2 mana every turn, which is pretty good. The removal spell deals 2 damage. But just most of the time, other Elder Relics are stronger. In terms of, yeah, I'm not interested in either Bang Relics, like those are the 2 Bang Relics. For neutral relics, there's Brambled Cutlass, there is Dual Strike for cheap minions that could be fine with Jolly Bombers. Or I might be able to reduce the cost of Nilmi. But I think Necrohammer just wins out. It's probably the best thing I can see at this point. So now it's a question of, do I want to fight Skull Recruit again? This time with a lot more Skull Recruits and some Brown Dues. So second fight Bony Recruit is a lot stronger than first fight Skull Recruit. Which means I think I'm just gonna go up against Shadow Shade. It worked well the first time. And I like having candles in hand. I think having one burst is okay. I can take one bomb. And this gives me a cheap minion to die and buff my candles. Oh, cool. He immediately draws it. Keep the board clean. Keep buffing Belarus. Buff him. So, one away from Rush, and does have Rush. And yeah, now I can start pushing for leading, so that can be pretty dangerous. Let's see if Incinerate can take off that. Yeah, very cool. It was a 50-50 to hit the intended target. Otherwise I would have needed to kill it with Belarus probably. Now it's just one bomb away from death. And I manifested the bomb into existence apparently. By speaking about it. So, got some plated grunts for armor gain, an armor fairy, and blast guard. I don't remember if Nilmi was aggressive, because I do think there was a Fort Bilge bomb on the map, which would allow me to gain the armor fairy relic. There is no there is no Ember Drake on this map, so plated grunt goes down in value. Although it's still pretty valuable, because it gives me +3 armor each time it dies. There's also Ember Drake. After you cast a spell, default pyro damage randomly split among enemies. Not really a good card, in my opinion. Most 8 mana minions should be sort of game ending. And this one is 8 mana, and you have to play other cards. Probably not gonna be able to do anything when you play it on 8. But then next turn, if you have like blood tokens, you can trigger it a bunch of times, I guess. But in a blood token deck, there's a much better 8-drop as well. A flying 8 dragon. Buccaneer is not that interesting with the amount of 1-drops I have. It also has Plated Grunt. There's Grimkin, which summons 2 rush minions basically. Fume Kick fuses an enemy occupied column, gives the minion +3 power and forces it to attack, so sort of like a way to remove enemies if I have the minions for it. And then I keep the power buff as well. Except not in this case, because the minion is probably just gonna die after it reaches 5 power. And Firestorm Fury deals damage to enemy minions and summons candles. So it's, I think it's a pick between the Plated Grunt and the Armor Fairy, and the Grimkin and Firestorm Fury. Grimkin also triggers focus 2 times. Plated Grunt likes +2 health. So is there anything that competes for +2 health? Not right now. Is there anything that competes for +1/+1 inanimate? Maybe the Bromback for more guard. I can also just skip. Like, none of these are super enticing. I think Firestorm Fury might be alright. But I'm not gonna pick up Grimkin, because I will generate enough candles with Bullet Fist and the candles I already have to trigger all the focus I need. Okay. I mean, I can look at the relics, and maybe one of them is better than picking up one of the 2 trinkets. Start of game, focus your hand twice. That's actually kind of cool. Means that candles will immediately gain their relentless, and if you have something to draw into other candles, by having an announced Satsuki, for example, then you can chain the death triggers into only having buffed candles, pretty much. And it also helps my Bellaris to get up, helps Nilmi to get to its trigger faster. Syndesit Grog is also an interesting option. Adds 2 Syndesit Monkeys to my hand, which is a 1/1 with Hot Hat. So any candles I start with, I can immediately buff with the Syndesit Monkey. Basically does the same thing with Training G, slightly delayed, but also gives me removal power with the Syndesit Monkey. And 2 Necrohammer triggers, so basically strictly better than Training G. And bam, like Bomb Badge. After you draw a bomb, do 4 damage to the enemy hero. I'm not really gonna be playing around self-bombing. Like, Burst is the only self-bomb card I have right now. And I'm gonna remove Burst at the first campfire I see. However, if you are going for self-bombs, this can be a pretty fun work. So, what's more valuable? Sinister Grog or putting plus armor on Bullet Fist? I mean, the Sinister Grog is basically +2 armor every game. And right now, with 2 Bullet Fists, I should expect it to only be +3 armor. And I guess I could also put it on like a Firestorm Fury. But yeah, I think the Cindersoot Grog is actually quite handy just to get focus up and to trigger Necro Hammer. I'll pick it over the Armor Relic. But I definitely want to get +2 power on Belarus. So I can either pick Shiver, then Acolytes, which would give me more blue cards and get me into the Devour package, but I don't want to do that. Just want to see the trinkets. It also spend 25 for a random trinket, but it's very unlikely that I'll get what I want. +2 power for Belarus. So now, once it's fully powered up, it's 4 with dual strike rush. Kind of doing a similar thing as Admiral Brass with the Cutlass Vine. If you think about it, like Cutlass Vine also had 4 power, but it has dual strike rush innately. Cutlass Vine is pretty much better in almost any case than Belarus, because the difference between 3 health and 1 health, especially against that boss, isn't particularly great. But because I played Admiral Brass yesterday, I didn't want to do that again, so I'm just gonna play Where's Admiral Brass? Kind of. I mean, there's some other stuff the deck does as well. Like the access to Jab and Apex Strike. That's actually quite handy. And yeah, I like this. Probably not gonna play Bang, but having candles. And yeah. I guess I'll just play one of the Cindersoot monkeys. I kind of wanna keep as much space in hand as possible, because I do both my Bullet Fists, which are gonna generate a lot of cards. And apparently his Cindersoot monkey is gonna push some damage as well. So that's Bullet Fist. Still not doing anything about those two now. I mean, I'll just keep chipping away at the enemy, I guess. I added to conclude. Next turn I can get my Kaze split. Get a bunch more Kendos. Immediately buff all of my Kendos. So yeah, enemies kind of going slow, which is pretty devastating for them. Because I basically have complete control over the board. Like the Kendos are just gonna remove anything brings onto the board, and then my bullet fists, like if he plays a lot of minions at once, can deal with a lot of minions, and incinerate can deal with a big minion. Only problem is that he stole a bang from me, so he's gonna convert those bombs into damage. However, since I'm on the play, I'll be able to play my bang first and make his bang useless. And just play another Jolly Bomber. So now I'll play another Bullet Fist. I will remove all survivors. And I have lethal if I kill the Belarus, yes. Yeah. So, pretty easy fight. Most Glimmer focus decks are like that. And, ooh, got the Fortify. 2 or 3 cards, gain 10 armor. Alternatively, another Bullet Fist and a Meditation. 2 Plated Crunts. Yeah, I think I really like the Fortify. Blast Mage deals damage based on how many bombs you shuffled into the opponent's deck. Right now, Jolly Bombers are my only source of bombs, really, like once I remove the bursts as well. So Blast Mage probably not that good. For that reason, Confuse Up was also probably not going to be that good. So really, it's, do I want to pick up another Bullet Fist? I'd probably pick Bullet Fist over Fortify if I buffed it. I mean, Bullet Fists sort of have a similar effect, as in giving me card advantage by generating a bunch of candles, but kind of like having the Fortify as a refill. Now, first trinket shop. If I want to be able to buy a relic, I can only buy 1 common trinket. However, in terms of relics, I think there isn't that much Nilmi wants. Like, there are some mercenaries that are very relic focused and some mercenaries that are very trinket focused. Like, do you want to buff your minions by directly buffing them, or do you want to gain extra effects from relics? If you play around Bang, I would say Bang is very relic focused. Like, you want relics that give you armor, or if you are going for self bombs, you want that bomber bash deals damage to the enemy when you draw your own bombs. The discard deck is, for example, extremely relic focused. I would say Nilmi is very much on the side of trinkets. Like extra draw on the jab or extra damage on the jab, buffing up Nilmi. In that case, buffing up Belarus, which we already did. So, also +1 power. +1 power is extremely valuable on the Kendo. Guard is interesting. I could put it on the Jolly Bomber. Brunbark already has guard. Could put it on the Belarus, but I'd prefer getting barrier on Belarus. Potentially protect him so that he can attack 2 turns in a row. I said it previously that putting plus draw on like a jab is pretty good. Is it better than a relic zone? There's a relic that makes expensive spells like Fortify and Firestorm Fury cheaper. There is one that would give Bang -2 cost. There's one that draws me an extra card at the beginning of battle. That one would be pretty good. I could see the focus relic again, which isn't the one that gives me 2 focus triggers at the beginning of battle, which isn't that important with Cindersuit Barrel in mind. If I put draw on this now, damage, like +3 damage would be more expensive, but I could put +3 damage on the Bullet Fist or the Firestorm Fury as well. So yeah. I think that's better than any relic I could see. I guess Heart Potion would have been nice. Coal Ocarina is actually pretty decent against this boss. Once you empty your hand, you draw 3 cards, 4 cards, I mean, once per battle. And against that boss, that's something that might actually happen. And Shroud Cloak negates the next source of damage when the opponent draws an autocast card, so aka bomb. Not really adding a lot of bombs. Still potentially useful to absorb a big hit in some instances, just not very reliable. I think overall I'm okay with having picked up the extra draw instead. I think with Fortify in the deck and 3 draw buffed jabs, I'm also fine with not having Ocarina. So for the boss, I will be fighting another Shiller Shade. Already fought this one before, still not concerned with it. So some Jockey Bombers to put some bombs into the deck. It's pretty alright. I think I'm not gonna play any Sinister Monkeys. I wanna see if I can draw into a Kendo first, potentially. And also wanna remove anything that he gets out on the field. Okay, just gets a bunch of armor and some spells. So I'll play Brunbach, draw a buffed Kendo. Extremely useful, the +1 power on Kendo. Just goes from 2 to 4 damage to a minion. Incredible. Fortify, nice. Could be useful in this fight. Like, this fight is long enough where I might benefit from the armor. And the Shiver Shades can deal a lot of face damage. So guess I play my second Cindersuit. Absorb the hit. play anything else. So I can remove it with either an incinerate or a bullet fist. I think I'll do it with bullet fist. And if I play the Kaze split, I will have 9 cards in hand, so that's enough to be able to draw next turn. I just can't play the Fortify very well. So maybe I'll just play Belarus instead. Was one away from Rush, but that's okay. Yeah. Nice. Extra bombs. 2 bombs left in the deck. I think I might play Bang if he removes every Jolly Bomber. But yeah, no need to gain the armor right now. Instead I can play Nilmi and she can potentially get some triggers. Now he plays guard, so kind of wanna try to remove it. Come on, yes, that's the right target. And now I have nothing. And whatever that hit, I still had enough damage on the board. So, Blast removes a bomb to deal damage to a minion. Add 2 bombs to the opponent's deck and 1 to yours. Not really interesting. Discard, I kind of don't really get. Costs 5 to deal a random amount of damage, basically. Like, I guess if you have a lot of expensive, like it deals damage equal to the cost of the card you draw with it. But like, every deck should have some 2 and 3 drops, and probably some good 1 drop as well. So a lot of the time, this just it rolls a trashy card and deals very little damage for its cost. Alert bot would summon a bunch of beam bots, which I'm not particularly interested in. Roguelike fish I'm not interested in. Plug bot can steal traps, but I'm not going up against any hard trap deck. So you know, these 2 are kind of 3 reaches is funny. And I definitely want to pick up some of them. Question is, will I take all 3? I think 3 is a bit much. Having 1 as a potential, 2 as a potential refill, do so that I am very likely to draw 1 throughout the course of the fight at least. I have a lot of them. They can kind of chain into each other, where if Rishu dies while I have a Rishu in hand, then it'll generate itself once I play the buffed one. And then I can just keep playing Rishus, keep filling my hand. That would be kind of interesting. I don't have many targets for the high value, like rare trinkets right now. Like Overgrow on Nilmi is probably better though. Double stats. Damage instead of Bang, which I might just straight up remove from the deck, because right now every time I drew him he was just a dead card. Yeah, let's go with 3. So, now there is the Leaky Tap, where I can get some grog, which I would only be interested in if I can give that grog some extra draw. But there's only one trinket shop after the Leaky Tap, so probably don't want to go there. Shop might be good. Shop to remove Bang. Also want to see at least one campfire. I could see 2 trinket shops in a row. And then a shop. So this path gives me 2 trinket shops. I think 2 is the maximum you can see, right? Unless I want to fight the... Oh, I haven't done the... Yeah, right, this was the Bomber Elite, so I have to go towards Seascape Soul. Which probably means trinket shop. Fight. Yeah, because if I want to go towards the relic shop here, I'd be forced in 2 shops, and like 1 shop is very good, 2 shops not so much, because the second, like once you use the shop removal, it's gonna be so expensive that it's no longer worth buying more. You should just use campfires instead for removal. And while there are a lot of good shop cards, the good shop cards are pretty expensive as well, so I usually only see 1 shop per run, and yeah, instead I'll see 2 trinket shops. Interesting. There is lifesteal, even more draw, and there's trample. So trample could be an interesting option for Rishu. Although not very necessary, because Rishu is gonna bring back a lot of minions, especially Kendos, and the Kendos will be able to remove anything that's in Rishu's way, so trample is not exactly necessary. I could put lifesteal on something like Bullet Fist. I could... Oh, funny. I don't think this works, actually, but it would be funny if this could put, like, lifesteal equal to enemy's health, I guess. But, yeah, it probably doesn't do anything. Lifesteal on Nilmi could be interesting. Lifesteal on Reach is a bit harsh. Unless I get the relic that makes 8 mana minions cheaper. Because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to play anything on the turn I play Rishu on, and also I'll have to wait a long time for Rishu. The difference between 6 and 8 is pretty big. Like against the boss fight it's turn 3, but in the elite fight, by turn 8 the fight is usually over. Extra draw could be nice on Incinerate. I could also put lifesteal on Belarus. But Belarus will usually wait a little anyway to buff up. This is 8 lifesteal. Main thing with the lifesteal is that I'm gonna get a lot of armor, so it could very well be the case that because of Necro Hammer I'm not actually gonna lose that much HP. And if I do start losing HP, then it's very likely that the fight is already going sideways. If I put lifesteal on Belarus, like an extra barrier would cost me 160. So that would be 270. I have enough money for that, then I wouldn't be able to afford anything at a shop. Could also put lifesteal on Bang. Yeah, no. But it would work with this ability. Like the bombs, the deal for pyro damage for bomb removed would all trigger lifesteal, so he could get like 50 lifesteal if you're playing bomb decks. But I'd only do that if I have the relic that makes expensive minions cheaper. It's also the question of extra draw. I probably don't want to put extra draw on Bullet Fist, because Bullet Fist is gonna generate a lot of candles already. I might want to put it on Incinerate. That's a solid choice. And I'm gonna hold off on lifesteal. Let's see what the Trinket Shop has to offer. And yeah, there's the barrier I was talking about. So yeah, this would allow Belarus to just straight up end the fight earlier. It's also -1 mana and -1 mana again, but also power and health down. So this is the last trinket shop, so I might want to spend like 1 or 2 rerolls over here. I want to keep like 100 gold to have enough money for a shop card and a removal. So yeah, barrier on Belarus helps. potentially means that Bellaris can live for 2 turns, which is the difference between 8 damage and 16 damage against the boss. And even if the enemy goes through the barrier, it means eating up the enemy spells, so that the enemy will run out of cards. That is very much a legitimate way to win against the boss. Just make it so the boss only has 1 card per turn to play with, and with Rishu and Fortify and Bullet Fists, I'll be generating enough cards that I can keep the board clean and just chip away. -1 cost. Nothing crucial. And this is mainly something to make like 2 mana or 3 mana things cheaper. Like that's the most impactful one. Playing Jolly Bomb on turn 1, for example. Making Bullet Fist cheaper is an interesting option. So that I can play the follow-up cards sooner. I can also make Rishu cheaper. I would kind of like to see more damage upgrades, like spell damage upgrades. Or like -2 mana. And make the Fortify yeah, 5 drop. Or the Rishu 4 drop. I think -1 mana is not that interesting for this deck. Also Hothead on Jolly Bomber. Yeah, I think there are some better trinkets I can see. Another draw +3 power -1 health. So usually not a good trinket for most minions. Like on this map, like it's actually an awesome trinket. It's just that if I put this on Nilmi or something, Nilmi is gonna get fleeting and die. However, I can put this on like Rishu. Make the Rishu have 9 damage and like 5 or 6 health. Could make the difference with the amount of spell damage the enemy has. But if the enemy runs out of cards, then it only has like 1 damage spell, then 1 damage spell shouldn't be enough to get through 5 health. And then Rishu can deal a whopping 9 damage on the next turn. Overgrow is also an option. I've mentioned Overgrow Nilmi before. 2 Nilmis, so that I have 2 Nilmi triggers per minion that I place down and attack. However, it does make the minion also more expensive. So I might take a trigger away. Because I have 1 minion less to play, and also the enemy might not have any minions that I can target with mine to trigger death effects. So Another draw. Another draw on the fortifier. Just... I don't remember if I had a second campfire. If I want to use one to remove the burst, what did I do? Cloning this... Cloning a draw 4 might be useful. So... I spent the 60, I'm not gonna be able to buy any neutral shop cards. There are some very good neutral shop cards I could see. Right. Well, I mean, Jardic's not that good. Melody Cannon, it's not that good. Pyro Aces, I don't have any more trinket shops for extra draw. I don't have a lot of fights to scale it up. I do have a lot of other removal spells already. The hammer that copies minions could be good, but it doesn't copy the focus effects, I don't think. So yeah, maybe I just go for the 9 damage. And then I'll keep the rerolls for a good... Oh, there is another trinket shop. If I go for the elite here, that... So yeah, I'm gonna avoid the poison fight because I don't like fighting poison. A rematch against Bloodtooth. I mean, Bloodtooth is dangerous, as seen last fight. However, my candles do have a power buff now, so they'll be able to punch it through tough, and I'll be able to deal with the Berserker as well, I think. Nilmi, I think I'd rather see like a removal spell. And I'll replace the issue as well. Yeah. Like Hearthstone Fury. It's a pretty nice add. Let's add some bombs. Sure, the bombers will be able to trade with Buccaneer. We have 2 of those. No. So yeah, Polaris is getting very close to their full damage potential. Now I have 2 souped up Polarises. I think I'll wait just a little bit. What do I? Yeah, I kind of don't want to take this 2. And then I have the Firestone Fury. I place a lot of minions like this. And now I have a big card advantage, and I can put down my Polarises to deal a bunch of damage. This is only 1 away from gaining Rush, so let's get him up. Guess I'll place Braun back, but the enemy is dead. So yeah. The +2 power on Belarus is quite incredible. Nilmi gets a lot worse if you don't see it on the map, like on the failed attempt before. A second fortify. Very happy to see that. I could also pick up some more meditation. Meditation could give me Belarus, could give me Rishu. I will also see another shop where a trinket shop where I might put +2 on it. Yeah, but I think I want to see if I can get the relic that makes expensive minions have barrier for Rishu. So I'll just pick up the second fortify. And I do see wild aces. I do see another bullet fist. Loyal Coswain makes bombs more powerful. Used to be the signature minion of the bomb deck. Now it's very good for the armor-based bomb deck, where you don't put bombs into your own deck because it buffs all bombs. So if you buff your own bombs to deal more damage, then that can get a little bit messy. So just one more fight, yeah? So kind of unlikely to see the wild aces. There are some small minions that would be able to remove. Blade and Death triggers twice. Kind of funny with Rishu. It would only work if I have to have hand space for it. Basically add 4 cards in my hand. And like Jolly Bomber would be able to add 4 bombs. But, yeah. Kind of awkward to use because it only has 2 health, and with 5 mana it's hard to combo with something else. Increased Frost Pyro Draconic damage. Yeah, I think I'll pick up the extra Incinerate. Basically free in the boss fight with the extra mana and the Troll Trinket attached to it. I'll remove Bang. I could pick up another Bullet Fist, and I think I will do that as well. Move west. And fight Monkey. Monkey should be an alright matchup. Yeah, especially if I get this much removal. Oh, his pirate recruits have rush, eh? But yeah, I'll be able to remove his cannons and whatnot. And most of the time I won't even care about him having cannons, so... I think in this case, I'll play the Incinerate just cause. Might have Cannoneers. I can leave those on the board. If I don't touch them, they don't do anything. do have a full hand right now. Ah, Fortify. That's a little unfortunate, because that would have been a good card. Yeah, this also just doesn't do anything. I think I will play one monkey just so that I have the hand space, but right now the enemy is just playing a bunch of cards that if I don't touch them, then he isn't really a threat to me. So yeah. I'll just punch the enemy, I guess. My hand is full because of that, but I am okay with that. The cannon also doesn't do... both fortifies get hit by that, that's hilarious. Yeah. I'll remove the big beak. Make progress on the Boom Strike. And cards in hand, so at least I can draw. So yeah, I think now that he has the cannoneers that can have the ship cannon target my face, it's a good time to play a board clear. And he's gonna get a bunch of cannons, but like... it's kind of fine by me, because I'm just gonna rush him down now with Polaris and Apex Strike. Alright, this is 16 damage. This is 10. Maybe I will play the Bullet Fists. Because 2 Polaris is followed up by Apex Strike is not lethal quite yet. And now my ultimate is ready for the first time. It's not that good, because it kind of takes a long time, as you just saw, but it is a board clear. A board clear is good, just a lot of ultimates are kind of game ending. This one isn't. With that enemy, it is kind of good. Now he should be able to kill my Polarises. Yeah, so both Polarises survive, because he doesn't have enough cards and enough cannons to kill them. So I win the battle. There's Moki. Focus 4 gain +4/+4. pretty powerful with the Dual Strike Relic, not in on this map though. There's Ember Drake with +3 health, whooping 15 health. That's a chunky guy. Like even against this enemy, 15 health. It's quite a lot. I think I would take this if I had any relic that gives me a spell each turn. Meditation at the start of the game. That's interesting, but also silence is interesting. Silence can actually be pretty good against that enemy. Because he has a lot of buff effects from Devourer and such. Or tough minions. So silence effect can get you out of a pickle. And Aura Guard to copy one of my minions, like copy a Belarus, copy a Vishu. I think I will just pick one though, but yeah. Silence, especially with extra draw. And I'll look at my free relic. Right, Blood Bangles would save me from hothead damage. Nilmi already has Swift Strike. Kind of anti-synergetic with Kendo. Yes, the Kendo survives, but it also means that it's not gonna trigger the attack when it dies, so it only deals 2 damage. Skeleton Key draws me 1-cost minions, aka Kendos or Doomed Recruits. Not particularly interested because I'm not keeping the 1-cost minions and I want to keep the Kendos until they're buffed with the Syndicate Brawl. And armor on bomb draws is also not interesting, so I will reroll that. My minions have Hothead. Start of game, focus your hand twice. Coral Ocarina appears again. I think with 2 fortifiers and a bunch of sword trinkets, I'm not worried about running out of cards. Focus on everything, so it would add focus to Hothead, I mean. Would add Hothead to Rishu, to Trolley Bomber. Trolley Bomber Hothead is fine. Hothead on Rishu. I picked up the Trample earlier. This would have been really nice. I can still see Trample though. Kind of like Hothead. Even though it's not gonna affect that many cards. Hothead on Belarus. If there's a minion I need to kill and the barrier can absorb the counter hit. 1 reroll for the trinket shop. Start of game, focus your hand twice. Again, the Kendo will focus from the Syndicate monkeys. The Belaruses will have enough time to gain all of their focus. It's bad for Rishu because it takes away 2 cards it can generate, so I don't want the training gene. But I think I'm okay with Firestone. Now there is Tough. Tough is... I can make Belarus even tank here. with barrier and 3 health. Like, I really want to make sure that this survives to its second turn. And I think with tough and barrier, this might just do it. Although rush on Rishu is also pretty good. I mean, this basically guarantees that I can put 9 damage into the enemy. And this is a chance that I get 8. And this is also cheaper. So yeah, I'll get that. Extra draw. Can never have enough draw trinkets for this fight, I will say. So I could put this on Bullet Fist and have enough money for another uncommon trinket. Tough is no longer that interesting. Nilmi and Jolly Bomber don't benefit from that much. Runbark can be alright, but I only have 1 in the deck. So yeah. Just more draw. Plus 3 damage. Well, I can no longer put it on jab, unfortunately, and I don't have enough money. But there's also flying. Which kind of a non-ball with the hothead relic. Another draw trinket. I could also put plus 3 damage on Firestone. Oh no, I still don't have enough money. Yeah, no, it's just flying or extra draw. I guess I'll pick the extra draw then. Put it in Firestone Fury, I guess. I think, if I remember correctly, the card that Firestone Fury draws will, if it has focus, will gain the focus triggers from the Kendos that spawn. Like, that should be the order of operations. It deals damage to all enemies, draws a card, and summons Kendos. And the Kendos only attack once this card resolves. And so the card I drew can benefit from the summoned Kendos if it has focus, which is why I am choosing Firestone Fury over Orogan. So, let's see how the boss battle goes. Turn 1. Lots of Kendos and a Rishu. I don't think I care about LD in this fight. Especially not without any buffs, so yeah. And jab, perfect. I am first. Yeah, I think I will play the run back. And do I spend my last mana? In this fight, it's kind of important to be big hand, so With the amount of mana, there are a lot of turns where even if you can play something, it might not make sense to do so. And then, if I want to activate the candles, I should play the Innocent Monkey first. However, I kind of don't want to feed a Innocent Monkey into the Rishu. So I will actually only play candles instead. Because that way it's only candles will be fed into the Rishu, and I will punch the enemy. So yeah, this one has a run bag and 3 candles in it. I don't care about the Nansatsuki being on the field. Like, if I need to remove it, I can play the candle. I think I'm just gonna punch the enemy again. And yeah, the enemy is already running out of cards, so I think this is like one of the easiest boss fights if you prepare properly for it, because this is sort of what happens. The enemy just runs out of cards, and if you have a ton of cards, then this is sort of what happens. 7 cards in hand, this will add 4 into my hand, so it would kind of be a bummer to feed something, to feed like the Innocent Monkeys or the Doomed Recruits into the second Rishu. So I think I will still play this Rishu. Get back all of those candles, and then once this Rishu dies, because it has fleeting, it will be in the next Rishu. So this Rishu will generate another Rishu, and I can just keep getting Rishus with more candles in them. So yeah, I can play 2 candles. Yeah. 2 more cards to get that Rishu up and running. Or I can play a Innocent Monkey and 1 candle. I think I'm fine with feeding 1 Innocent Monkey into the Rishu. Keep the candles because they have more removal power. Oh, actually, because the candle died twice, it fed itself into the Rishu twice. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So no second Rishu into Rishu. Maybe this gets me another Rishu, but it gets me the Belarus. Now it has dual strike. Get bombed down. Very smooth. Already top decking that enemy. I'll put down a Belarus. Do I wanna overguard it? Like, if I overguard it now, I guarantee that it gets me a Belarus. If I wait, I might get more value from having barrier twice on Belarus, however, it is quite possible that he removes it. Because of the relic, when he plays a free spell, the Leviafin Fang will remove the barrier from it, but then whatever damage the free spell deals can kill the Belarus. So since there are no other targets for the Leviafin Fang, it might just die on the next turn. So I think I will overguard it. It does survive. So now Rishu and Belarus will finish off the enemy. The Bullet's Fist is why not? Yeah, very easy fight. Again, the high mana is just very exploitable because the enemy doesn't have that much draw. And so if you do that, then it should be an easy victory. It's just about getting to the boss. Which, yeah. For Nilmi, plus 2 power on Belarus. Basically makes it a worse Cutlass Wine, but Cutlass Wine is a very good card, so having a worse Cutlass Wine, he is very much fine. And then Jab is just extremely valuable. Sometimes you can build around Nilmi if she gets the right buffs, like -1 to all stats and +3/+3 from the Emperor Drake. And maybe like the dual strike relic as well, but it's pretty specific. Like usually Nilmi's just okay in some fights, and then in most fights she doesn't do anything. Sometimes you can slap a ramp trinket on her and do well. Rishu, very good way to get some refill. Also, just enough power that even with the fleeting, it's okay to play that. Like the fleeting is bad for scaling minions, but minions that already have a high power stat and get their value from like plate or death rattles can actually work around that fleeting restriction just fine. Didn't see much fortify action this game. I think I played it in one fight, but yeah. That's just a good card to pick up. Jolly Bomber did some work. Like some chip damage with the bombs, and Incinerate did some work. So, yeah. I can definitely recommend Nilmi or Nightmare Brass if you're looking to defeat Leviafin, even get the S rank. I think not having the Seafin Shrine, you can see the difference between the first run and the second run. It is an incredibly powerful trinket. You can use it in almost all runs that have some sort of cheap minion. Another reason why Admiral Brass can be better than Nilmi is because never had that happen to me before. That Cutlass Wine can get to full power more easily than Belarus. Like for Cutlass Wine, there are some buffs in the deck, like with Admiral Brass, there is a relic. Admiral Brass gets that gives +1 power to pirate minions, and then you only have to get the common trinket or the Cutlass Wine. But yeah, there is some justification for Nilmi over Admiral Brass with all of the removal spells she gets. And the Necro Hammer also works better on Nilmi than on Admiral Brass because of the Relentless, which gives you extra deaths. Used to be one of the most broken combos, by the way, because Candace used to have Relentless immediately without the focus, and the Necro Hammer used to give 2 armor per death. So Kendo would just straight up give you 4 armor, which was ridiculous. Up to 4 damage removal with 4 armor for a 1-drop. Yeah, I think the nerfs both to Kendo and Necrohammer were incredibly justified. Alright, see you next time. Tomorrow I'll be fighting Dragon's Belly, which is a green deck.